Hello and welcome back to the AA NBA podcast. I'm your host, Aiden Hammond.
And I'm Aditya.
And we're still quarantined, and this is bad still.
Yeah, it was pretty lame.
The NBA is still not back, which no shit. Good news, though. Christian Wood and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, who were, I believe, the first three players to test positive for coronavirus, have all made a full recovery.
Yeah.
They're still not going out in public, though, because nobody is. But that's good. So we got that. What was the second thing that you wanted to talk about? I know that you probably know more about that than I do. I've just seen it on, NBA pages.
Yeah, so allegedly there's an idea that the NBA might resume the season in the Bahamas. They'll have all their players go to the Bahamas, and there's only 9 really confirmed cases in the Bahamas. Well, there's 90,000 in the United States, so overall, if they can get everyone down there safely, they could resume the season down there if they can just take proper precautions to keep everyone safe.
Which is true, but they would also have to test every single player to make sure that none of them are carriers.
Well, there are already some carriers. Like we know Celtics,
a problem.
Some of the Nets have it too.
They just have to make sure that everybody is cleared.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be the main hindrance with the Bahamas plan. But I hope it happens because I'm ready to see basketball again. But I also don't want to see it if it's going to, first of all, fuck with the Bahamas. Because there are innocent people living there that don't really give a fuck about the NBA, and they're just hoping to stay healthy. So I think that should be the main priority.
I want to say real quick, yesterday Doris Burke announced that she had the coronavirus. So
yeah, one of the legendary sideline reporters in the NBA. So I hope she gets better soon.
Yeah.
All right, and one more announcement. We have a friend who. Do you know what class he's taking? What class is teaching him this?
No, it's visual arts, I think.
He's basically learning. He learned Adobe Illustrator, and he lives in Michigan. It's the guy. It's Noah.
Yeah, they know Noah.
Yeah. But he lives in Michigan, so not only do they not have school, they're not doing e-learning right now, and he can't go out. And he was like, "Hey." I got a DM from Aditya, and it was like, hey, who are your 2 favorite players of all time? And I said Tracy McGrady and Hakeem Olajuwon. And he said, no. Favorite players right now. And I said,
messed up.
De'Aaron Fox and Victor Oladipo. And so Aditya picked his 2 favorite players.
Mm-hmm. I picked Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade, and since Dwayne Wade retired last season, he was on the template.
Apparently, there was no, my 3 are Tracy McGrady, Hakeem, and Tim Duncan. But Tracy McGrady and Tim Duncan are both. It's been about 4 years and 7 years since they each retired, so that's obviously probably not gonna be on that website. But
yeah, we got a new new wallpaper for the podcast.
Yeah, it's fucking killer. We've seen the. There are 2 options, and I think we might have a vote. I'm not sure.
If anyone that's watching this is actually interested, just comment. One of them has a purple or a gray background and with a purple font, and one of them has a yellow background. So if anyone watching this actually cares, just comment or something.
And it's really good. It's killer.
I know Noah
all
for
of the
sure
designs
watches them.
cool.
He always does, but
yeah.
Yeah.
All of the designs are actually sick, and we're going to that's going to be our new background with the instead of the trash background I made in a collage app out of a AA battery, and then 2 pixelated photos of us.
Yeah.
So really anything is better than that, but this is way better than that. So we're pretty excited.
Dope, so
we're super excited about that. That will be up. We're not sure if that'll be up this week or next week, but we figured that we should talk about it because it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a new development.
Mm-hmm.
And also, about halfway through this podcast, I turned my mic down a lot, so that's probably why my audio's changed a little bit. I just figured I should say something.
Yeah.
I just needed to make sure it leveled out. So, do we have anything else?
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say, there's the top league officials, executives, and stuff that I think it's the 20% of the top 100 paid executives are they're losing 20% of their
like
base
20%,
salary
yeah.
or something, like something's going on. I think it's the top 100 league like paid official executives around the world are
That's
losing
crazy.
salaries of up to 20%. That's what it is. And also one of shout outs all the players that are donating for coronavirus research and food for people and like helping hospital members.
Kyrie had a huge, like, 200 million meal donation, I think it was, or 200,000.
Steve
It was
Ballmer donated
huge.
like 25 million, which means in the
Yeah,
past week he
Steve.
spent
Oh,
around $425 million,
yeah.
which is
Because
less than 1% of his net worth, which is insane.
the Clippers are finally getting the fuck out of Staples Center, which I prefer the Clippers to the Lakers, and I'm just glad they're finally getting out of the Staples Center, so they can finally, like, they're never gonna be the most loved team in LA, but they can finally stop being like the little brother who's like impeding on the Lakers by being in the Staples Center. So that's awesome. I'm really glad that they're moving to I believe it's the Forum in Los Angeles. It's a legendary stadium. Steve
Isn't
Ballmer
it in Inglewood or something?
dropped $400 million on it. I think so. Yeah.
Also, just a new report. The Pistons have offered their new performance practice center to help officials for whatever best uses for either COVID-19 testing, temporary hospital for overflowed patients, or sleeping facility for medical staff, which is pretty dope.
Which is fucking awesome. Like, that's so classy of the Pistons to do that.
So
it's
just
not
good stuff going
looking
around
great
the
in
league. It's
Michigan right
wholesome.
now
You
with
know,
Corona. Really, it's not looking
stuff
good
going
anywhere,
on,
but it's just cool for a team like the Pistons with the means to do something like that, because not every team is doing stuff like that.
Looking to
We just talk about the fucking Houston Rockets owner. What the fuck is his problem? He's like cutting people's salaries right now. He's a billionaire, so he has the means to not have to do that, but he's doing it anyway.
I don't know anything about that one, so you can take it away.
That's just all I really know is that he's like cutting people's salaries and like I think he laid some people off. I'm not sure. I saw something. I don't remember what page it was on yesterday. So, is there any more news before we get into this game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hayward is expected to opt into his contract for next season. That's about it.
Yeah. So we have a very special game. It is Bernard King's 60-point game on Christmas of 1984. Which, holy shit, this is one of the worst basketball games I've ever watched.
That was horrible. It was actually the worst. Oh, jeez.
So I know I texted you yesterday because I started watching it. I watched the first half yesterday and the second half today because I just could not sit through this entire game in one sitting because it's so bad. First of all, that is no diss on Bernard King. Bernard King and Michael Ray Richardson are basically the only two reasons that this game is even watchable.
The GOAT Mike Jaminski? He was insane.
Mike Jaminski was hooping, but he was super boring. But Michael Ray Richardson. So let's just go into a little bit of background. So we all know about the 1985 draft lottery in which the Knicks won. I forgot that the 1984-85 Knicks would have been the season before that when we picked this game. So that's on me for not realizing that immediately we were going to watch a shit team.
Bernard King's dropping 60 points. There's got to be at least some sort of excitement, and there wasn't any.
there was
Yeah.
it was hard to watch. So
Well, I do want to
let's
say
just go into some background on these
then
teams.
a junior year. I thought that the 1985 NBA draft lottery was
Oh, yeah.
rigged, and I did a presentation for that in my English class for like a persuasive essay thing, and that was my topic, was the 1985 draft lottery. So
And it was for sure rigged. So let's just go into a little bit of background. Both of these teams were in the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division. Sorry for the sneeze. The Nets were third place in the division behind the Celtics and the Sixers, and the Knicks were fifth place behind everybody. The Nets went 42-40. They were the 5th seed in the East. The Knicks went 24-58. They were the 11th seed in the East, but not like 11th seed like it is now. There were only 23 teams in the league at this point, which, means that some teams that with records that wouldn't make it now made it then, which is not like some people like to use it as like this is why the NBA now is better. I don't really think that, but whatever. So we have this game between two teams that at this point in the season, Christmas Day 1984, were hot shit. The Nets were 12-17, and the Knicks were 12-19. The Nets eventually turned it around. They finished 2 games above 500. The Knicks did not. They finished.
I don't have anything I pulled up or anything.
They finished 24-58, which I can't do the math that fast in my head about how many games below 500 that is, but it's a lot. These two teams are bad. Like, at this point in the season, they're both bad. Again, I didn't realize that this was the season before the Knicks won the draft lottery. They were, I believe, the 3rd worst team in the league that year. They had a better record than the Pacers, who went 22-60, and the Warriors, who also went 22-60. So they were the 3rd worst team in the NBA this year. The next worst team was the Kansas City Kings. What? When did they move to Sacramento? I thought they moved in like the 70s or the 60s, but I guess not. The Kansas City Kings, who were 31-51.
It was the Royals at the time, right?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. I don't know. The mid-'80s were a wild time in the league because it was kind of like just starting to become a major pro sports league.
Well, here's the thing: is in the mid-'80s, the NBA popularity was kind of dying. Magic and Bird, they were like they were getting older, and Michael Jordan was. This was part of my presentation, actually.
Michael Jordan.
Patrick Ewing was supposed to be like the savior of the league because ratings were down basically everywhere, and it would give David Stern incentive to give the biggest sports market in the league the consensus #1 pick at the time, and it would hope to like boost sales and revenue.
Which, to be fair to him, it did.
Yeah. But overall interest was just low.
Yeah, but it was also like. Which, we always talk about how Bird and Magic saved the league because they did. Like, the league probably would have folded without them, but it really, like...
they kept the ship afloat.
They kept the ship afloat, and Michael Jordan made it into... Michael Jordan is the reason that the NBA is, like, culturally as big as it is today. Like, he just is.
Yeah. He went, and then after that, Allen Iverson sort of took over the cultural role.
Allen Iverson was the barrier in between. He was the bridge between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant / LeBron.
Well, I also mean in the sense of Allen Iverson sort of he crossed over between basketball and hip hop culture. Because before that, it wasn't really a thing. There wasn't a crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
And David Stern was not a fan of it.
Yeah, David Stern. David Stern wanted you to be buttoned up. He wanted you to treat the NBA like you were going to a law firm.
Well, he made a dress code.
Yeah, he did. What the fuck was that? Anyway,
at the time, like if you think about the time period, it's not
yeah,
good
that's
publicity
true.
for people
The
to
early
come in
2000s,
with
late 90s.
tank top, braids, baggy shorts or pants, tattoos, grills, chains. It wasn't a good look.
I guess.
Yeah, they had to keep their brand.
So let's just look at Bernard King's stats in this game. Bernard King,
he took a lot.
He
of
only
free
took
throws.
30 shots, which when you are scoring 60 points,
I remember
he was 19 of 30 from the field. He took 0 3-pointers, which back in the day that was like
the Knicks as a team took maybe 1-3, and it was at the end.
Like
of the
back
game.
in this time, that's like fine, but today it is probably impossible to score 60 points without 1 3. Like I don't believe that could ever happen now. Like I just don't think that like the person that I think could maybe get closest is like Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis if they're just like fucking dominating in the paint one night.
Well,
But
even Anthony Davis's big games, he was hitting
yeah,
threes.
but I like this just
and Cat's capable of it.
Yeah.
He's shooting like 41% from the three.
that was crazy. That was crazy. Why did we ever think that was gonna last?
Just being hopeful.
Yeah. And Bernard King shot 22 of 26 from the free throw line. So this reaffirms this podcast shares we share a belief that it is impossible to average like 35 plus points per game without taking at least 11 free throws. I think we've talked about that before. But we've talked about it because we're like, why do people clown on James Harden for doing that when Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in their respective, I believe it's 36 and 37 point per game seasons,
Kobe,
they each took
37 for
yeah,
MJ.
35 for James Harden was 36. In those respective seasons, they each took at least I think it was like 10 and a half or 11 for each of them.
Kobe took 10, James Harden took 11, MJ took 12.
Yeah. Which that just reaffirms the belief, or this game reaffirms the belief that this is not just like the NBA being weak today. It's
some of the calls
it
were
is a
stupid. There were some dumb calls.
Dude, holy shit. So I took a full page of notes on this game because I'm a nerd.
I just wrote some stuff down on a piece of paper.
So at the beginning of the game, did you notice that Bernard King was really like weirdly pass first?
No, well, he had one pass that he gave up early on, but it was because he just was not doing great early. Yeah,
he was pretty awful in the first quarter. He was cold from the field. I think he started out like 0 of 2 or 1 of 3.
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed that both coaches had perms, which was solid.
I thought they were looking at the same coach the entire time, but they were talking about both teams. And
Yeah, that was a little weird. I think that both coaches had perms, but it might have just been like they're both older white guys, and
they both had curly hair.
Yeah, they both had curly hair. I also noticed, which we've talked about this, but both teams were shitty.
Yeah,
like this is
they
not
were missing wide open shots.
When I was watching this game, I was like, or when I was thinking about this game, I was like, okay, it wouldn't be a classic game if both of these teams were bad, but both of these teams were bad. It's only a classic game because it was on Christmas and Bernard King scored 60.
I do want to say though, one thing I noticed though, the announcers seemed to pinpoint how much the Knicks were scared of Buck Williams, but he had like 16 and 10.
I actually
Mike
really
Kaminsky was balling, bro.
I liked the announcers in this game actually a lot. I thought that they were solid
It's hard
and
to keep such a bad game alive.
Yeah, it is. I thought that it was kind of weird how did you notice that they kept reiterating how tough Bernard King is, and they were like, he's the toughest offensive player in the NBA. He's such a beast, and like a lot of his baskets were like 10-foot mid-range shots. Like it was like that. The left side about 12 feet. The left side of the basket about 12 feet out was, I think he hit like 5 or 6 shots from there, which like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it was just like, is this the guy that we're supposed to believe is the toughest guy in the NBA? Like, he wasn't getting a lot of like really hard baskets,
You remember
you know?
This is a dead zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that towards the beginning of the third quarter, they were like, "Oh, Bernard King's missed most of his miss. He's like shooting 16 of 20 from the field," and I was like, "Whoa, that's insane." And then you just said he was shooting 19 of 30 on the game, which means he had a really bad second half. You could see it, like you could see it. He just
Well, that's the thing is that King scored 40
yeah.
in the first half, which is fucking ridiculous. Like that doesn't happen today. Like players don't score 40 in the first
can.
half today. That
If they
happens
do,
like
16
James
free
Harden
throws.
does that like twice a season, and that's about it. Like James Harden does, that happens about maybe 3 or 4 times a season today, but for the most part, it just doesn't happen. 40 points in the first half. I'd say that 40 points in the first half is more impressive than a 60-point game. I think the 40 points in one half is the most impressive part of this. Because if Bernard King played like in the second half like he did in the first half, first of all, Knicks would have won.
Well, yeah.
And second of all, he might have scored 85 or 90 points. It's just he was cold in the second
He was
half.
also like dead tired.
He was,
That's what
yeah.
the odds were saying.
He
Like,
scored.
when they came back from halftime, he was just dead.
Yeah, he scored. I was looking for a quarter breakdown of this, but I figured out that it was 11 points in the third quarter, 9 points in the fourth quarter, and then I think the second quarter was by far his best. I think he probably scored like 25 points or something. Because I think he had like 15 or 16 in the first quarter.
I think
feel
he
like
had
I don't
more
know.
than, like,
It's
he had a lot of
hard.
free throws, too, in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was like yeah. It's I also noticed that it's really hard to keep track of the score and like how many points they have without like the scrolling thing at the bottom. Like you know how
the actual scoreboard.
yeah, like I think that happened in like the late 90s when they actually added like a television scoreboard. But like it's really hard to keep track of without this. And if they didn't like periodically, like once every like 5 or 6 minutes they'd put up the score, but like it was hard to keep track of the score without it.
Also, in a classic Knicks fashion, they blew an 18-point lead.
Yeah, classic Knicks, baby. Don't forget, even though we're praising Bernard King, this is an anti-Knicks podcast, baby.
And they still lost the game.
They lost
the 60 and they messed it up.
Yeah, we need to mention this because I don't think we have yet. They lost the game.
Yeah.
They lost it. They gave up 33 points in the third and fourth quarter and lost by 6 points with their best play, with a player dropping 60. Like that's like almost as bad as the Suns losing when Devin Booker dropped 70. Like that's just
the
insane.
Difference is that in the game where Devin Booker dropped 70, there was threes involved.
Well, and that Celtics team was pretty good. This Nets team was not that good.
Yeah.
Like this Nets team would be like an 8 seed with the record they had if there were 30 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also but okay. There were a lot of fucking fouls called. There were 37 fouls called on the Knicks, 28 on the Nets.
Yeah.
I skipped ahead 20. I abused the 20-second skip thing on this because I didn't want to watch fucking free throws for an hour.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like most of this game was. It was
This
just
wasn't
free throws.
like a 90-minute game without ads or a halftime break or anything. This was just game time, and it was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
For perspective, if you do that with skipping all timeouts and breaks and everything in a current game, it's 48 minutes.
Yeah. So this was like more than double what that would be. Or almost double what that would be.
The problem, a lot of it was just like going for a steal off the pass and a little bit of contact, and they called a foul.
Yeah, it was like I it's not the like Bill Laimbeer used to tackle Michael Jordan and not get called for a foul. So what the fuck is this? Like I thought the 80s were supposed to be like the toughest defensive, and I know that it is, but like it's like this just was not indicative of what the 80s were overall like officiating wise. Like you had to like mug somebody.
The point guard would kind of throw a lob pass over like 2 defenders to Bernard King in the post, and no one like contested the pass.
Yeah,
they just let it happen. Like
I was like, dude, The Nets had like 3 guys who were 7 feet tall, and they
Yeah.
just weren't doing anything. Oh, that's the other thing is every player in this game looks minimum 35 years old.
Except for Bernard King.
Bernard King looks 28 at least.
Well, that's the thing is the haircuts and the mustaches back then, they all look old. A lot of them are pretty young, actually. Like
Yeah, like there
I
was a
looked up
guy.
Mike Kaminsky, and he like I thought he must have been a hooper, but he was pretty young too. It was like this is his 3rd year in the league.
What was that dude's name? It was. It was Daryl Walker. Daryl Walker was. This was, I think, his 2nd year in the league, and he looks about 40 years old in this game.
Well, that's the thing. Nate Thurmond had a receding hairline by like 25 or 26.
Yeah. But like that's not it. It's like his face. He looks like he's just. He looks like he's been in the league for 20 years. Like just some of these guys. Like it's weird. I think it's
a lot
because
of
of
them
the.
also played 4 years in college too.
That's true. That's true. But I think it's also because of the cameras.
Yeah.
Just were not like good. Or like as good as like they could be.
Right.
And also in the 80s, like players didn't care about looking great.
Right. Yeah. Oh, like mustache and
Oh
flat
wait,
top
no.
thing was like
Bernard
a trend.
King had 21 points in the first quarter. That's what I was saying. Is King
Well, because a lot of he didn't make a lot of shots. It was just free
it
throws.
was like I saw it's the best analogy I've ever seen from one of my favorite players, Tim Duncan. Is Tim Duncan would put up 27, 15, and 4, and you just like look at the stat sheet and be like, oh shit, when did he do that? Because you just don't notice that he's doing that because it's so like calm. And Bernard King was calm this whole game. Like the only like if you saw like a turnaround jump shot that he made in the 3rd quarter, you'd be like, oh, that probably is like his 25th point. But because the Garden is going so crazy, you're like, oh shit, he just hit like 55. You know?
Yeah.
Like it was good to see Knicks fans happy.
And it was even funnier
just-
to see them lose and all the Knicks
To
fans'
see
hopes
them
and dreams
lose,
were
it was
crushed.
so funny. It was so funny. It was nice to see them happy and then get just crushed.
Like when they made the finals with that really bad team, it was like the 8th seed, and then they got destroyed
Yeah.
in the finals. But they were like, "Oh, we just made it to the finals with an unhealthy team. Next year isn't our year. Well, we can make a run." Like they just wanted to sign a few people and win a championship, and then they lost it in like the 1st or 2nd round, and then the season after that they missed the playoffs, and then they were gone.
And then they were like, "Oh yeah, Larry Johnson's gonna be that good again." No, he's not. It's Larry Johnson.
They made a
He
bunch
broke
of
his-
bad
he broke his
trades.
back.
They brought in like an old Marcus Camby. He was like all right, but they traded for a bunch of older players that they didn't need. They traded
Yeah,
for like Patrick Ewing, which wasn't great.
Oh, another big thing about this game is the first quarter, the teams combined for 61 points. This was by today's standards even, this was a high-scoring game. 120 to 114 is a high-scoring game in any era of the NBA, even though,
In
like,
this era, it's normal.
the 80s?
What?
The 80s or, like, now?
No, in current times.
Oh. I'd say that's even a little high. Maybe it's just because I watch the Pacers more than any other team, but like that I don't see a lot of games going to the like 110s, 120s. I see a lot of like maybe like 109, 100 scores and that sort of thing. But I don't see
know.
like
a lot of games that I watch go up to like 115 or 120. So yeah. There's games that can go up to like 130.
yeah.
I mean, there's games that can get up to like 150. So
That's true, yeah. Oh, so the wait, what?
I'm.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say that this was an overall bad game.
Yeah, this is a shitty game. I hated this game. This was we got to pick a better game for next week, and I think I know
Yeah.
which one we should do. I have a couple ideas.
All right. We can talk about that once we're done with everything with this game.
Yeah, we're almost done with this game. I don't know. I'm disgusted. I don't know how much more I
Yeah.
can talk.
Both teams were just missing wide open
Um,
shots, and it wasn't even deep shots. It was just mid range.
Yeah, it's
and
just
they were
like
just missing. Yeah.
it was like 18 footers. It's like, guys,
Yeah.
come on. It's like you turn on this game, Daryl Morey turns on this game to be like, see, I'm right. These motherfuckers can't make mid-range shots, so why do I expect them to do it today?
And this is Daryl Morey's like bread and butter. This team only took 1-3, and what happened? They lost.
They were so bad. But it's also like somebody like points it out. They're like, hey, this is the 84-85 Knicks. They got the first pick. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. They probably got the first pick because they didn't take enough threes.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's not why. They were just really overall bad. He's like, dude, I don't know. Yeah, like, just going back to it, having 40 points in the first half is the most impressive part of this game for Bernard King. Like, easily. Like, it's
I
just
think the most
crazy.
impressive part was the Nets coming back from an 18-point deficit.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is, let's just talk about this game as a whole. About midway through the third quarter, the Nets started, like, making it close. So you say 18 points. I had it written down as, like, I think it was 17, but 18 I think is more accurate.
I just placed.
Yeah.
The announcers said the Nets were leading by like 18 or something at one point.
Yeah.
Like it was a 5-point game when they said that.
So that was, like, crazy that they did that.
It was just not what I know. Both teams were bad, but I thought if someone's dropping 60 points, there will be some excitement or good basketball. You can't score 60 and still have a boring game.
Yeah. And to be fair, Bernard King didn't have a bad game. Just
team as a
the
whole.
entirety of the rest of his team and 80% of the Nets had a bad game. Mike Gaminsky and Michael Ray Richardson were fucking hooping, though. Dude, Michael Ray Richardson, I Googled him after this game because I had I'd heard the name, but I just like wasn't super familiar with his game. He's a 4-time All-Star. He played 48 minutes this game. He shot
And then Buck Williams also played 48 minutes.
Yeah. Michael Ray Richardson, hooper alert, shot 0 of 3 from 3. But he shot 10 of 22.
So it doesn't really count.
Yeah, he shot 16 of 17 from the line. Also, George Johnson, 2 points. He played 21 minutes. He scored 2 points, 0 field goal attempts, 0 3-point attempts, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Do you know how he shot both of those free throws?
No.
This was towards the end of the game. He shot both of those free throws underhanded. The announcers pointed it out. They were like, oh, Rick Barry teaching him how to shoot free throws. And I was like, what the fuck? Did he really just shoot both of those underhanded and make them both? I was like, I didn't realize that was still like a thing in the 80s.
I was so bored in this game. They mentioned Rick Barry, so I went on my phone and looked up Rick Barry's stats. And I looked up Brent Barry's stats. Just to compare like how good his kid was compared to him, because I was just that
Brent
bored.
Barry was not that good, was he?
He was alright. He had like his best season like 14, 5, and 5.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad. He was solid.
Now you got me Googling Brent Barry. Didn't he have another
He
son?
wasn't anything special. He didn't have a super long career, but it was good for what it was.
No, he was only 48.
Because
Played
then
for the Sonics.
I was thinking like, who had the best NBA son like in the league? Because I was just
Gary
I couldn't pay
Payton?
attention to the game. It was so boring.
Gary Payton Jr.? Come on, dude. The AA Podcast's second favorite G League player behind Carson Edwards.
Well, he's not in the G League. He's in the main roster.
So this is just. I had a couple other notes. Michael Ray Richardson tied the game with 5 to go and hit a free throw on the same possession to take the lead, and the Nets never gave it back, and they won by 6. My final note on this is Michael Ray Richardson is a fucking god. He took over in the fourth quarter. He had 4 steals in this game, 36 points.
He was like the all-time, not all-time, but in the steals leader for like a season. Yeah.
I think they said he hit, or somebody hit 5th all-time on the steals at the beginning of the game.
He was close
Yeah.
to getting
Fifth all time. Yeah.
I think.
All right. So, do you want to go ahead and let's give? Okay. So here's what I think we should do. We should give a let's say like a 3-word summary. No, 5-word summary. 5-word summary and a letter grade of this game. And we should do that
Alright.
for every game we watch.
I got mine. All right. I got my 5-word summary and my letter grade. If you want me to go first.
Sure, if you want to.
All right, my 5-word summary is it was not worth watching, and my grade is a C minus. It would have been lower, but Bernard King had 60.
All right, so mine is bad game. Don't watch, please. Which is 2 sentences. And I would say I'm gonna give it a C plus, because of course Bernard King went off, but also like there's a comeback element which was at least sort of entertaining, and I learned about a new player, a new like cool player, Michael Ray Richardson, who I was not super familiar with before, besides hearing the name, and also he has a very cool nickname, Sugar. I think they called him Sugar Ray Richardson.
Yeah.
So overall, not a great game though. But like by classic game standards, it's like pretty shit, I'd say.
We picked a bad game.
Yeah, we picked a bad game to start it off with, but we're gonna make up for it. We're gonna make it up to ourselves, because I feel like I really let me down with that. I think we let ourselves down. I think that I think we let ourselves down. So let's each pick 3 games. Let's just go through. We'll take a couple minutes and just talk about like a couple games that we want to do, and then we'll end the podcast. 30-30? All right. So yeah. Oof. Is it still recording? Aditya's computer just crashed, and we're not sure if it's still recording. So I'm just gonna vamp for a little bit, and we'll just cut the 2. You can just start a new recording and just put them both together, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. And if it didn't, oopsie. So we're kind of worried that Aditya's recording didn't autosave. I'm just going to keep mine recording so that we have a place to pick up when Aditya gets back. Ooh, that's not good. Well, hold on. I'll wait for you to get back to the recording, but I found something that might be bad about watching that game. 2 things that might be bad about watching that game. Okay. But I'll wait for you to get back. So I'm just gonna keep talking. So hi. I'm just gonna keep okay. I noticed that they're only hearing one half of this conversation, so they're probably confused as to what's happening. Aditya's computer crashed. I know I've said it once, but Aditya's computer crashed 3 times, baby. Aditya's computer crashed 4, and he's trying to get it back up and running. We're hoping that it saved, and if it didn't, then motherfucker. So, yeesh. Let's just cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess, because I really don't want to think about that. Alright. Aditya's rebooting his thing. I am just keeping my mic recording. So I'm looking at this list, and a lot of good games here. There are several dunk contests, which is a little weird. I don't think that sounds like a very good episode of the podcast, is just watching a dunk contest. But, you know, They have a lot of like weird little regular season games. Like they've got Anthony Davis just hits a buzzer beater in February of 2015. And that is the most recent game they have and then the next most recent game is the Kevin Love 30-30 game, which I found several problems with watching, potentially. That I'll wait to say when we get back. So, okay, so I looked up the 30-30 game. And I'm just, yeah, okay, so two major problems, but one major positive about watching that game, or two major positives, two major problems. The problems are both teams were ass. The Timberwolves went 15-67 that season, and the Knicks went 29-53. But the Timberwolves won that game, and Kevin Love scored 30 points, 30 rebounds. I think he actually scored 31. But 30 points, 30 rebounds is ridiculous. But both teams were bad. So we're going to talk about that a little more. But if we don't end up doing that game, that's why. So several classic Michael Jordan games, several classic Kobe games, a couple classic Allen Iverson games, really a lot of classic games from really good players, couple really good early Cleveland LeBron games, first Cleveland stint. They have
Okay, I
May
think
31st,
my
2007
audio
against the
has
Pistons.
recovered. So
Okay,
yeah,
Aditya
if
just talk to me, and his audio
yes,
recovered.
they can hear me now, I believe.
So, okay, will you start a new recording?
What do you mean?
And start a new recording, and I'll tell you where I am on my audio right now on Audacity, and then you can just put them together like that.
I just resumed from where I was at, and I'll just do some editing. Yeah, I'll do some editing stuff. That's fine. Hopefully it doesn't crash again, because that'd be annoying.
So did you hear what I said about the Kevin Love game?
Yeah, about how both teams are bad.
Both teams are really bad.
Yeah.
Like, this Timberwolves team is, like, historically bad.
Yeah, so maybe not that one.
Which could be, like, just, like, they won, but it still could be, like, do we really want to watch another two shitty teams? This would be watching two teams that are worse than the game that we watched. Because at least one of those teams went above 500 and made the playoffs. But, like,
right.
This team, that didn't happen. Both these teams were well below 500 and missed the playoffs by a significant margin.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't. I want to pick something a little more modern.
Yeah, I do too. I'm thinking that we can. I'm thinking that we can go ahead and say for sure that we're gonna pick a game at least from like 2000 on.
Yeah.
I think we should do that for this week, and then we can maybe watch a 90s game next week or something. Because there are a lot of really good 90s games, but I think we should watch something just a little more modern. Just, plus most of these games are playoff games right here. Mm-hmm. So I've got one that I keep coming back to, the LeBron game. Cavs win in double overtime after LeBron goes off. It's May 31st, 2007. It's against the Pistons, so it is a playoff game. Both of these teams are good. This is the year that the Cavs made the finals.
Yeah. We could do that one. I was also looking at this game right here, Raptors versus Sixers on May 9th, 2001.
Ooh, yeah.
Where Allen Iverson scores 54 points.
There are actually two games from that series. If you look down, May 20th, 2001. Right, classic Game 7 between the Raptors and Sixers. Of course, the Raptors won that game, but I believe that's the game where Vince Carter was like a couple inches away from hitting a series-winning shot, which would be fucking sick to watch.
So I'm thinking one of those two games from the Raptors Sixers.
Yeah. How about we watch the May 20th game? The three probable Hall of Famers face off in a classic Game 7.
I'm cool with that.
Because that's like a series clinching game. And
another good one might be
between two
Bucks
really good
Sixers,
teams.
where Allen Iverson.
Where this,
But yeah, we can do.
They have four Allen Iverson 2001 games. 3 of them from the playoffs,
And one of them from the All-Star game.
Yeah, and I think that actually, oops, I just scratched my mic, but that's fine. You know how they have they have like one game from each of the finals from 2000 on.
Yeah.
I think the one from 2001 might be the step over game. Maybe we could watch.
I don't think they have that step over game on here.
It's not on this. It's on. It is on. If you go to NBA.com, it's on the NBA TV tab, I think. I don't know if we'll be able to watch it. It might be locked. But, NBA Finals from 2000 to 2019. It's at the very bottom of the page. 2001 Finals, Lakers versus Sixers. Oh, it's Game 5. What the fuck? How'd they mess that up?
What?
They picked one game from each of the finals from 2000 to 2019, and they picked Game 5 of the 2001 finals to show where the Lakers won. But like, why wouldn't they pick Game 1? That was like the best game of the series by far.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of lame. But yeah, I think we should do. So you want to do Game 7 of Raptors Sixers, May 20th?
Yeah, I think we should do Game 7 of Raptors Sixers. May 20th, 2001. We forgot to say this last week, but if you do want to watch along at home while we either between this week and next week or just while we're discussing
you can. You go to nba.com/free preview, you have access to all of the classic games.
Yep. All right.
I think that's all we got.
I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Hopefully
there.
this isn't a pain to edit with the cut.
Yeah, it might be, but
oh well. We'll cross that path when we get there.
You know what? They have Game 7 of the 2016 finals.
That one's too fresh, though. You know?
It is pretty fresh, yeah. They also have Game 7 of the 2013 finals, which might not be too fresh.
2013, that's Spurs,
they have
right?
Game. Yeah, that's Allen Iverson. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, is this like a? Yeah, it's Game 7. LeBron pours in 37 and Heat's title-clinching victory. So it's not the Allen Iverson hits that like Bosh, James.
Where are you getting Allen Iverson from?
Bosh.
You mean Ray Allen?
Ray Allen. James misses Bosh out to Allen. Bang! You know that one? It's not that one. It's not Game 6. That's Game 6.
Right.
It's Game 7.
So they're just picking all the wrong games, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. What the fuck is this?
I think they just have the series clinching games.
Okay. 2010 NBA Finals. Okay. Game 7. Lakers beat Celtics. That might be a really good game to watch because I think that's a close game, and that's also. Oh wait, never mind. We can't even watch that. I just clicked watch now, and we can't even watch it.
They have Celtics Lakers on the classic games, where
they do. Yeah, they do.
So.
So I think we're gonna go ahead.
Yeah. So we've decided on Raptors Sixers for next week. If you're interested in watching us talk about that game, then come back.
Subscribe. Like. We're gonna do some self-promotion bullshit tweets.
It worked.
I think we should do it.
I did one on ESPN and it worked, so we're good.
We just want to get this out there.
Yeah.
If we can get more eyes on this, that would be cool. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Subscribe, like, comment, tell us why we're stupid idiots and why our opinions are wrong. If you're a Knicks fan,
I feel bad for
sorry
you.
for roasting the shit out of your team.
Yeah,
for
they
almost
don't
50 minutes
need
now.
L's. I mean, they already have enough as Knicks fans. So
Yeah, it's being a Knicks fan is just you're like a living L. It's like unless your name is Spike Lee, because Spike Lee's
he's
cool.
a
We
millionaire.
like Spike Lee over here. Because he's a millionaire. Even though James Dolan took an L by disrespecting Spike Lee.
Yeah, you're like you have at least one loyal fan throughout the past 30 years of trash, and you managed
would you
to
fuck that
mess it up. Yeah.
Like why? Just why?
Yeah.
Why?
It's
Why?
very dumb. James Dolan is a bad owner.
James Dolan is a bad owner. Oh, that's one more thing is there was a $2 trillion relief bill that means that a lot of people are going to get $1,200. I don't really know how it works. It's like you have to have not been a dependent. I don't know at some point. I don't really know how it works. But if everybody that gets one of those checks pulls it together, we can buy.
You don't
the
even
New York
need
Knicks.
everybody. You need like.
Yeah.
I forget the exact number. I saw this on Instagram.
Well, a lot of the $1 trillion is not going to go to people, I don't think. I think a lot of it's going to go to, like, corporate bailouts. I'm not
But
sure,
I know
though.
at least 1,200. If every single person gets 1,200, or even just $1,000, right? And we get a huge group of
we can
people
probably
together,
buy
we
the
could
Knicks.
buy the Knicks.
I think if everybody in New York did that, they could probably
Yeah.
buy the Knicks. Which might be a good idea. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and end it there.
Yeah.
We've said that about
So,
4
yeah,
times.
we're gonna
but we're
end
going to go
it.
ahead and end it, and it's going to be a bitch to edit.
That's
but,
right.
you know.
See you guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye.